In this lecture, I am going to discuss about child routing in Angular, and I will also tell you about absolute path and relative path in Angular routing. So let's open our app routing module.ts file where we have defined the routing for our applications. Now I will let you know how we can create child routing in Angular applications. So before creating any child routes, we need one parent routes. So let's create the parent route first. So let's provide the path for the parent route, and the path will be post, and then we need to provide the component for the parent routes. Right now we don't have any component for this parent route, so I will create a new component for this parent route. So let's create one component called post, and this will create a new component under app post folder, and then I will provide the component here for this parent route, and then we need to provide children here to create child routes, and this will be an array, and under this array we need to provide the child routes. I will provide these routes as a child routes for this parent route, so I will provide that routes inside this children array, and then I will remove this post path from here because for these two routes we have this parent route, and this parent route has a path called post, so we do not need to provide post as a path here. Save this file and let's check the browser. Let's go to our post path and post create path. You see we are getting post works text only because for these two paths we have this as a parent path, and this parent route, and this parent route has a component called post component, and under this post component we have this text, and we don't have any router outlet here. That is why for this route this post list component is not loading, and for this route this post create component is not loading, right? Because we have this text only here, post works. To load that component dynamically for these two routes, what we need to do, we need to add router outlet here. Okay, this router outlet will load that component dynamically for that routes. Okay, let's add router outlet here and check the browser now. You see for this post create page that component is loading, and this for this post page that component is loading, and this text is common for both of these routes. So what is the advantage of creating child routes? Suppose you want to show anything like any component or so for one or multiple routes, you can create a parent route, and you can define the parent component, and you can put that common code of block inside this parent component, and this will get common for all of the child's routes which will define under this children. Okay, that is why we create child routing in our Angular applications. Now I will tell you about absolute path and relative path in Angular routing. So let's open our app component.html file, and here we have this router link, and we have this path for these links, right? So if you notice that for that path we are not providing any slash here. So if we provide slash here before the path, this will act as a absolute path. That means that path gets appended after our base URL, and if we do not provide any slash here, that means this will act as a relative path. That means that path get appended after what is the currently activated route. Okay, now let's give you one example. So if I open our post create component.html file, and now let's check our post create page. Here we have this back to post link, right? So let's check that back to post button. So instead of calling this back to post method, what I'll do, I'll provide router link, and let's provide router link, and I'll provide the path here. So the path will be post, right? To go to our post page. Now refresh this page. You see I'm not providing any slash here, right? I'm not providing any slash here. So if we do not provide any slash here, that means this will act as a relative path. That means that get appended after what is the currently activated route. Now if I check the browser and try to hover on this URL, you see at the bottom left corner, after this input box, if you notice that we are getting the URL, right? The URL is now like localhost 4200/post/create/post. This is our currently activated URL, and that post path, right? That post path is appending after the currently activated route. Whenever we are hovering on this link, we are getting this, right, at the bottom left corner, right? So this is acting as a relative path, right? And if we provide any slash here and try to check that, just notice at that bottom left corner, you see we are getting the URL like localhost 4200/post. That means let's get appending after our base URL, and this is working as a absolute path, right? So this is what we have in Angular, like absolute path and relative path. Now I will tell you how we can navigate by programmatically using navigate by URL or navigate method. Okay, so that you will learn how we can provide relative path also there. So let's call that back to post method, what we have inside our post create component.ts file. So let's call this back to post method on clicking on this button. Save this file, and if I check that, we are providing this router.navigate by URL and we are not providing any slash here. Still this will act as a absolute path. This navigate by URL or this router.navigate method will always act as a absolute path. We do not need to provide any slash here, okay, to act as a absolute path. We do not need to provide any slash here. Okay, this will always act as a absolute path. Now let's check that. Refresh the URL and click on this back to post button. You see we are navigating to our post page, right? Then how we can make this navigate by URL as a relative path? For that, what we need to do, we need to provide one object there, and inside this object we need to provide relative to, and then we need to provide the currently activated route method. So we need to provide currently activated route, not method. We need to provide currently activated route here. So how we will get currently activated route? For that, what we need to do, we need to create one dependency injection, which is currently activated route, or let's say activated route, and then to import route, activated route, okay, and then we need to provide that is dot activated route here as a relative to. Okay, now this will act as a relative path. Now let's check that. So refresh that page and inspect that browser and click on this. So let's go to our post page, refresh this page and click on this back to post button. You see you are getting one error, right? It is saying that cannot match any routes called post/create/post. That means that post path is appending after our currently activated route. Our currently activated route is post/create and it is appending after that, right? So this is how we can make this navigate method as a relative path in our Angular application. So that's it for absolute path and relative path in Angular applications. So in the next lecture I will create 404 not found component for our Angular application. So stay connected.